So, if you didn't know, after finishing Clone Wars, I decided to watch the 2015 semi-sequel slash spiritual successor, Star Wars Rebels. First off, I want to say that watching the last episode of Clone Wars Season 7 and then immediately watching the first episode of Rebels is amazing. I likened it to hearing the beat drop of the song. It's like everything was terrible, but now it's better. Um, just to see as we're going around after watching Ahsoka go into hiding, it's like whack. Um, I really liked it. It was a really cool emotional flip. Um, anyways, I recently finished the first season, so I'm going to do a smaller review on that. This is definitely going to be shorter than usual. Um, I did actually, I did actually watch a little of the first season when it came out, but I wasn't really into it. I was 14 in middle school, and it didn't really interest me at the time. However, I do remember watching the majority of the first season back in 2015, making this one kind of a rewatch. Anyway, I felt that it was a lot more interesting this time around. I noticed they actually set themselves a lot better in the first season than people give them credit for. They kind of lean into the family aspect of the show, and it's not too bad. It kind of feels like a G-rated Star Wars Firefly, which I like. Is kind of annoying, I must admit. Then again, so was Ahsoka in the first movie. The other crew members are kind of well characterized, if a bit cliche. They got a leader, the muscle, the mom, the mechanic, and the new guy. It's definitely cliche, but they do give them character, so it doesn't hurt too much. The bad guys are all kind of lame, but they do have more character than the bad guys in the first season of Clone Wars. And the Inquisitor is a decent villain for a single season. It's clear they always intended for him to die at the end of the season. He has no character. The only development he gets is how he deals with failure. And the way he deals with failure is suicide. And I quote, "There are things worse than death." Speaking of his own failure, and also Darth Vader showing up. He's a decent one-season villain, and ironically, Callus becomes the long-term villain. I didn't think that would happen, which is interesting. I'll sort of see how that develops. I'm in the middle of season 2 right now. The cameos of other Star Wars characters are pretty decent. You clearly see that Tarkin is an idiot, and Lando is himself. And of course, for some reason, R2 and C-3PO and Bail Organa show up, because why not? Overall, the first season of Rebels is actually, I think it's better than the first season of Clone Wars. It's on par with the second or third season of Clone Wars, which is pretty good for the first season, if I'm being honest. It could have been a lot worse, and so far, the second season is already a lot better, in my opinion. The first season's not bad. It's just, it has the same vibe as the movie, Clone Wars movie, where they needed a baseline to show so that they could build off of. It's actually probably better than season 1 or 2 of Clone Wars. It's just not as good as season 6 or season 5 of the Clone Wars, which is what it came after. So people kind of hated on it. But then later it gets better. The second season, I'm already halfway in, and it's already better. Overall, I give this season a 0.805 out of 1. It's a decent first season. It's good enough to keep me around, but that's because I know it gets better. If you were just watching this and you had no idea if they were doing more, you might pass on it, and it's fair, honestly, to pass on it. Expect more of these sort of short reviews in the meantime. I might do one of these for Clone Wars, and I'll continue doing them for Rebels as I watch. But yeah, and also hopefully more podcasts.